athletic training, functional training, sports-specific training are all myths. And in today's video, I'm going to show you the history behind motor learning, skill acquisition, and skill transfer, and prove to you why these training approaches are unproductive, waste of time in the best case scenario, and in the worst case scenario, dangerous. Now, in the last 10-15 years or so, we have gone backwards in exercise technology. We went from well-designed machines and productive, efficient, and safe workouts to swinging sledgehammers at tires, flipping tires, flinging ropes around, throwing medicine balls in the air, and all this silly nonsense that many people believe because they are extremely misinformed and ignorant that this will improve their athletic ability or their performance on the field, when in reality, it's going to have literally no effect at all, and in many cases, just produce injuries during practice which are going to manifest themselves on the field. So why do I say these training methods are useless? Sounds pretty controversial, but that's just because you don't know any better. And this video is going to serve as a way to teach you the history behind motor learning so that way you do understand, you don't waste your time with these silly drills and silly training methods. Now, the science of motor learning started way back in the 1920s with a man named David Brace of the University of Texas and Charles McCloy of the University of Iowa. These were the first two researchers to study skill acquisition, motor learning, and skill transfer. Now, they coined the term general motor ability, and this was the belief that you could acquire a few basic skills and it was going to improve your ability to perform a whole array of skills. Now, this principle was actually taught to soldiers in World War II. They thought that if they could teach them a handful of basic skills, then they could perform a variety of different jobs and tasks during a battle and make their soldier more effective and more efficient. Now, American football teams caught on of this principle and started applying it to their teams and their coaching. And that is exactly where the confusion began. Back in the 40s, football teams started applying this principle to their practices and their coaching, helping improve their players' ability on the field. But after Brace and McCloy collected more data, they found that they were in fact wrong. That there was no such thing as general motor ability, and that they were completely incorrect with all the data they collected in the last 20 years of their research. But it was too late. The military was already using this principle, and many sports teams were also already using this principle, and it had already spread like wildfire. So after his announcement in 1946, claiming that he was actually in fact wrong about what he was teaching, a new researcher, Edwin Fleischmann of Yale University, found that skills were actually very specific, that there was no such thing as general motor ability, and that general skills didn't enhance the improvements of other skills. Now, he found that general abilities were developmental and maturational and just improve over time, things like jumping, climbing, running, etc., just as a general process of maturing and aging. And these were the foundation for most specific skills. But found that if you want to improve particular or specific activities or skills, you must practice them identically for them to have what is called a positive skill transfer. But many people in the fitness industry are under the impression that if we practice something that sort of resembles something we would do on the field, it will improve our ability to do that skill or activity on the field. But this is wrong, and we've known this since the 1960s. Things like balance, things like agility, these are specific to activities. They are not general. But you will often see sports teams doing agility drills or balance drills, thinking that they're going to improve their athletes' performance. Dr. Edwin Fleischmann did a lot of research on balance and found that balance is extremely specific to the specific environment you want to improve balance on. And that balance is not general. For instance, if you practice balancing on your left leg and became very efficient and proficient at balancing on your left leg, it would not transfer to the ability to even balance on your right leg. That is how specific balance is. Yet you see BOSU balls and physio balls rampant in the fitness community, thinking that if I do a squat or an overhead press with an instability challenge, it's somehow gonna make me more functional or more athletic on the field. But this contradicts every motor learning principle that we've known since the 60s. And this is where the myth of functional training comes in. A lot of people believe that there are certain movements or certain exercises that are more functional, meaning they are going to improve your ability to do other skills better. This is also completely wrong. The skill acquired in an exercise, such as a clean and jerk, or a clean and snatch, or a box jump, remains specific to that exercise. The skills of exercises don't transfer to any other activities. So your ability to clean and jerk is not going to transfer to your ability to shed a block, or jump and catch a pass, or shoot a goal in hockey. It's only going to improve your ability to clean and jerk. But most coaches are completely unaware of these motor learning principles and advocate for these extremely dangerous exercises to make their athletes more explosive. And again, explosive is not a trainable general factor of functional ability. It's specific to the activity. The only thing that is going to enhance or improve athletic performance or your ability to perform other skill that you can acquire in the gym is strength. No matter how you improve your strength, it is functional. Strength will transfer between all activities and make all activities easier. But the way many coaches and trainers go about improving strength is stupid and dangerous. We should be improving our strength in the most time efficient, safe, and effective way, which is going to be slow, controlled movements, progressively overloading the muscle and accumulating a high amount of fatigue, stress, and tension in major muscle groups. Not throwing medicine balls in the air, not flipping tires, not swinging ropes. These are inefficient, relatively ineffective ways of creating deep stress, fatigue, and muscle, and accumulating a ton of wear and tear on the joints in the process. It's just dumb. So what most coaches are doing in their strength and conditioning programs, and probably about 25 to 50% of their team practices, is just wasting the athlete's time with no improvements in skill, very little improvements in strength and conditioning, and a whole lot of motor confusion. A lot of these coaches are attempting to load a lot of skills that are specific to sports, thinking that it's going to improve the athlete's ability to do that skill, and what it's doing is actually causing motor confusion. It is reducing the athlete's ability to perform that specific skill by loading that pattern and screwing up the athlete's nervous system and screwing up the athlete's ability to replicate or transfer that skill on the field. Now, the reason this would be controversial is not because of any evidence or actual facts of motor learning principles. It's simply because a lot of people do it. But just because a lot of people do something doesn't mean it's necessarily correct. And we can see why a lot of people do this, because it was implemented into coaching back in the 40s, and despite new data, new information, and new research, it stayed there. But if you are an athlete and you want to improve your performance on the field, this is what you need to do. You need to make your body as strong as possible, and thereby indirectly improving your cardiovascular fitness, metabolic efficiency, and bone and connective tissue strength. And you're going to do this with a logical, safe strength training program, such as my Golden Era system. Click the link in the description. Use the Golden Era system to accumulate the most strength improvement, the safest, and with the least amount of time involved. Now, separate from your strengthening program, you're going to practice these specific skills. You never want to combine strength and conditioning and skills because it's going to cause motor confusion. Now, when you're practicing your skills, you want to practice these skills in the closest environment to the competition setting as possible. For instance, if you're practicing basketball, ideally you want to practice basketball on a wooden floor in a gym with a competition-regulated basketball hoop. Not in the park on pavement with unregulated basketball hoops, because again, that's going to result in motor confusion and a negative skill transfer. If you're an American football player, you want to practice these skills in full pads on both grass and turf if you're going to be playing on both. You want to be practicing in the same cleats you're going to be wearing in competition, the same gloves, the same pants, as close to the competition scenario as possible. This is going to result in the most positive skill transfer. What you don't want to do is any of this athletic training or sport-specific training like dragging a tire or dragging a parachute, doing an agility ladder, swinging battle ropes, because guess what? That is not going to improve your performance on the field. It may result in a little bit of a conditioning side effect, a little bit of a muscle strength improvement as a side effect, but with a byproduct of a ton of wasted time and a ton of wear and tear on your joints, which may manifest itself as an injury during your game. So combine my Golden Era strength training system and practice your skills as close to the competition setting as possible, and you will be improving your ability to perform in your sport to an optimum level. So that's it. That's motor learning, that's skill transfer, and how it is completely misunderstood in the entire fitness community, even most professional sports. And this is an opportunity for you to not make the same mistake. So please hit the like, subscribe, bell notification icon so you can be notified when I provide more videos on the facts of exercise science and debunk a lot of this myth and folklore so you can get the best physique with no injury in the least amount of time possible.